Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Communicast, the official podcast of the Google Plus comic book community. I know it's been a while, but this is issue number 48 for the week of September 24th, 2014. We took a little break for scheduling issues and stuff, but we're back. And yeah, so I'm Justin Beeson, and I'm joined by co-host Sarah Evans.
Hi.
And each week we take a look at our pull lists and pick the comic that we're most excited to read and then review it here, whether it's good or bad. And then in the later half we'll go over any other significant issues or news for the past week. So let's get right into it. Sarah, what was your first comic?
My first comic this week, I was actually not expecting to get The Future's End, Harley Quinn, #1. I don't know hardly anything about the Future's End event, I'm embarrassed to say, so I don't know if there's going to be ongoing issues of the series that are highlighting it. Okay, I don't know why they'd bother to call it #1 then. I guess they just had to put something on there. I don't know why I'm surprised because it's still Amanda Connor who's been rocking the cover art, but the holographic covers for these are actually really cool. I was expecting something kind of cheesy after last year's, what do you call it, Forever Evil holographic covers that they ran out of, and it was a hot mess. But these are actually kind of interesting. I like the fact that they actually change. I think they might have hit a home run this time around. So the issue is really good. I mean, it's basically par for the course for how the Harley Quinn series has been. Like I said, I didn't mean to pull something from this event. I've kind of had it with events in general lately, especially from DC. But they put it in my box, and it continues to be interesting. It's a one-shot issue. I mean, it's fun. It's got the same awesome dialogue that just, like, gets Harley down exactly. Like, you can hear her voice from the Batman TV show in your head. It's perfect. I really just love the way that they're writing her. She was a little problematic in that it involves Harley's plane going down and crash landing her on a desert island. And there's the prerequisite group of indigenous peoples who instantly see that her skin is very pale, and because of this they worship her as a goddess.
I didn't even think of that.
And it's played up for laughs because it's like a very cliche sort of thing. Like, I know that they're using a plot line that's been done several times and they're trying to make it fun and just kind of keep it light, but it's like, come on. Like, y'all were doing so good. Why'd you have to do the racist thing, unintentionally or not? I mean, the Joker's there too, and they also, like, are making a big to-do about her because, like, oh, well, his skin is pale and he's tricked them into thinking that he's a god or whatever, but that justifier is still kind of weird. But aside from that, I mean, if you can suspend your disbelief for the remainder of the comic, it was cute. It was a really cute book, and Aquaman shows up at the end, which is kind of fun. So, yeah, I thought it was a good issue overall.
Yeah, so the Future's End thing, it's that weekly series that they've been doing, and all these one-shots really don't have much to do with the weekly series itself, and then I think there's going to be an event like in March or something. So they're all just, showing where these people are, and some of them obviously that are in the comic, it kind of ties in with a little bit, like the Action Comics one did, and I think the Superman one does as well. But yeah, so this one was actually kind of weird because this really could have just been in regular continuity, besides the fact that Joker is dead right now.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah, because, I mean, the other one's really...
Yeah, well, I mean, she kind of hallucinated that anyway. I mean, it was inferred.
Yeah. By the way, does she always have the little, like, is that beaver on a necklace thing new, or is that something that she does regularly? Talks to inanimate objects?
Yeah, no, there's a decomposing beaver that she has an ongoing discourse with, Bernie. So that's been since issue 1.
Gotcha. But yeah, because after the Villains Month thing, which was pretty much across the board terrible, I've actually been pleasantly surprised, and we haven't gotten to talk about these because we've been off in September pretty much. The Future End issues, they've been actually pretty good. I haven't read any that I've just been like didn't like at all. They've been, you know, decent to really good, and so I've been I've been picking up more. So I ended up picking up this one too, and I liked it.
Okay, good to know. Hope you like cat butts, everybody, because that's what we're doing tonight.
All right.
Justin, what was your first one?
My first pick was Cyclops #5. So this has been this is young Cyclops from, you know, the time displaced original X-Men, and he's been off with his dad Corsair, it's like a road trip storyline kind of thing, but you know, they're space pirates, so all that entails. And this is by Greg Rucka, and this is actually the last issue of his run on the comic, so I'll be dropping it after this. But I mean, this has just been a fun. It's basically Cyclops and his dad on a swashbuckling road trip.
Aww.
So this is the final issue of this arc, and basically they're stranded on some planet, and then throughout the course of the story you find out that Corsair's dying, and the only way he's staying alive is he has to have this, this whatever stuff injected into him every so often. So, he's gonna die if they stay on that planet, even if they have stuff to live off of. Mm-hmm. So they kind of pull. I don't know if you ever saw that last Riddick movie, but it kind of had a similar story to where they construct a homing device on their ship and basically send a signal out, and Corsair has a bunch of bounties on him, so it's to attract bounty hunters, and the issue is just kind of them luring these bounty hunters, taking him out so they can take their ship. And it was really good. And this could have been read by itself too. It would have worked as a standalone story. And so they lure the bounty hunters and they show them how they're taking them out, and then they end up actually surrendering to them because the lead bounty hunter is of a race of people or race of aliens that takes a hunger oath until they've completed their task. And so his assistant pleads with Corsair and Cyclops, no, you can't take us all out, otherwise this guy will die. And because Cyclops is such a good person, he's like, oh, we can't let him die. So they surrender, and then they pretend like they're captured, and then once
it sounds like they're actually captured.
Well, they get captured, but then once the lead bounty hunter has his meal after completing his task, Cyclops uses his optic blast and blasts out of everything, and then they take him out and steal their ship.
Mm.
But yeah, and that was kind of the theme, because this whole time Corsair's been teaching Cyclops to sword fight, and so he'll start out sword fighting and then he gets sick of it and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna blast people. But it was good 5-issue arc. I thought it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm pulling way too many books, so this is just one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm dropping this after this since Rucka's done with it.
Hmm. I don't really like Cyclops at all, but that actually sounds really cute and interesting.
It is, and honestly, I never liked Cyclops, but ever since Bendis took over the X-Men, he's been one of the most interesting characters, both young Cyclops and old Cyclops. I really like what he's doing with him, and I mean, this is Rucka writing him, and he writes him very well. So yeah. And you were gonna try and do a Rucka comic this week, but that didn't quite work out for you, did it?
I know, right? Yeah, no, I mean, I've liked what I've read of the Storm series so far, and I was actually looking forward to the third one. So when the guy in front of me, literally got the last one, and I asked the sales associate, do you have any more? And he was like, you're looking at it. I just was like, okay, just put it on my pull list because I've been enjoying it. Why not?
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of... all of his output right now has been really, really good. I think he's doing 4 or 5 books. So
wow.
What was your pick instead?
The runner-up this week. I'm actually glad I did it because it was the last one in the story arc that's been going on for a while. I know I've been talking about Red Sonja a lot. That's why I was trying to get away from that, but as fate would have it, it didn't work out. Red Sonja number 12 wraps up this story arc that's been going on with the dying Emperor tasking Sonja to go out and acquire these extremely talented artisans, like a courtesan and a stargazer and an animal tamer and a chef, and all these are like the best of their profession in the world because he's having an undying party. In exchange, he had promised her to free all of the slaves in his kingdom upon his imminent death. So, of course, she's written by Gail Simone. Justin, I know that you know the formulas that she likes to use. Of course, Red Sonja cannot tolerate slavery going on, much like Scandal Savage and a few other of her female heroines. Well, as opposed to her male heroines. I'm sorry, it's like 11:16 over here. I'm going to misspeak.
It's all good.
But essentially, this kind of ties up that story arc. She's got everybody. They return to the palace and commence with this party that was going to go on, and everything's going swimmingly, despite the fact that the Emperor is a creep. But everyone who's been reading the series so far knows that he does not intend to go along with his original promise. When Sonja learns about this, there's understandably chaos because she's Red Sonja, and you don't really lie to her and live. I guess this guy hasn't heard all the legends, but everything that goes down from there is really cute. It's really interesting. The artisans who we've been getting a little bit here and a little bit there, their personalities throughout this 6-issue arc are actually pretty capable of handling themselves, and not just the swordsman either. The little girl who's the beast tamer, she's, I mean, obviously pretty handy in a fight when you've got giant bears you can just sick on people. And I don't want to spoil anything, but given the double meaning, I will say that the series ends with a very, very, very happy ending.
Well, that's good. So I know Gail Simone announced like she's going off of it, but does she still have another arc, or is that it for her?
I think she's got the keys. She's going to take the car. I think that might be it for her. I'm not entirely sure. I was at her panel at Baltimore Comic Con, and there were a lot of Red Sonja questions because obviously Dynamite was hosting the panel, so you're going to get a lot of that. Although, interestingly, there were just as many, if not more, questions about Oracle and Birds of Prey, and not just from yours truly. I can't quite recall. I'm pretty sure she's going to have another story arc in general. I don't know if it's going to be just like a one-shot thing.
Gotcha. All right, so that was Red Sonja number 12. So my second pick was Superman Doomed number 2. I thought this was going to be the end of this big storyline. I think it's like a month late, and this was an oversized issue that's supposed to conclude everything. Turns out it doesn't. There's still some more left. But this was kind of an odd issue. It was written by Greg Pak and Charles Soule, but then there's like 6 different artists on it. And I mean, something must have happened. And they had to have a bunch of fill-in art. So it gets, I mean, they, you know, luckily this comic jumps around a lot. So, you know, they kind of, it seems like they divide the art by scene, but they just kind of list all the artists and they don't actually say what pages they're on. So I can't stand when they do that. Just put the pages. Anyways, so this is...
Yeah, that's a huge turnoff for me as well.
Yeah. So this is basically what's happened with Superman Doomed is, you know, it started out as a Doomsday story, but then you found out over the course of the issues that was just kind of a ploy by Brainiac to get Superman out of there so he could start assimilating Earth. I haven't been following Superman in the New 52 until recently, and so it might be the first appearance of Brainiac as in the main universe. And you know, this Brainiac's a little different. He's telepathic. He doesn't just like suck up the whole planet anymore. He has this weird like mind beam that knocks all the people out on Earth into comas and then kind of absorbs their essence. So basically, he's doing that right now.
So he's like a Sailor Moon villain from season 1.
Yeah.
We've got to collect people's energy for our great ruler.
Yeah, and there's been seeds of this, I guess, planted early in Lobdell's run, because he had, like, Lois Lane has some crazy psychic things, so she was kind of possessed by Brainiac, so she has psychic powers right now too. But anyways, so they're basically, this is the last stand. Superman's given back into, like, the Doomsday, because he's been, like, kind of, it's like dueling personalities with him right now. And so he's Super Doom again to go try and take out the Brainiac mothership. And so he heads into the Brainiac mothership, and then basically the whole time Brainiac is in his mind trying to convince him not to destroy him because he says he'll kill everybody. That doesn't happen. You know, Super Doom beats up on Brainiac, and then which allows Lois to basically use her new psychic powers that are connected to Brainiac to take out Brainiac. And then she gives Brainiac's powers or his mind to Superman. So there's this one panel where he's Superman, Doomsday, and Brainiac, like, all in one thing. And then he knocks Brainiac out, and then they go dive into a black hole.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Really crazy. And
no kidding.
And then when that happens, everybody loses, like, everything resets. So Lois loses her psychic powers. The Doomsday starts coming off of Superman, but that's because they're in a black hole. And then obviously, and that one, yeah, they're both in a black hole. And
well, that part I understood, but why would that necessarily cause them to split back into their original states?
Because I have no idea. Because the Lois and like all the people that were being assimilated is because Brainiac's gone, so that makes sense. But the other stuff, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I think there's 2 more issues, like it's Superman Doom, the Aftermath, or something like that, over Action Comics and Superman maybe. So I mean, I'll be picking up those to see how it really ends, because obviously Superman's not going to stay in a black hole. But the interesting thing about this issue, and I mean, if you have any interest in this, don't want to be spoiled, mute the next like 30 seconds. But the last page of the comics is kind of like shows a bunch of like shatter. It's like they're you know, kind of going in and out of reality in this black hole, and it shows a bunch of like panes of other universes. A couple of them being pre-New 52 stuff. Like there's one that shows the original Teen Titans with Nightwing in his disco outfit and old school Cyborg. So they're teasing something. I mean, everybody's pretty much thinking that they're gonna do something with the old universe at some point, and with that, and then with Grant Morrison doing the multiversity stuff, there's something's gonna happen. So I'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, anyways, that was Superman Doomed #2. I don't know if it was a satisfying ending. It was alright. I think I have to go reread this issue, definitely, maybe a couple of the other ones. But yeah, overall though, the whole crossover event, I actually enjoyed. I thought it was pretty entertaining, and you know, it was a good Superman story. And we'll see how the true ending goes.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that sounded like a Mad Lib.
Yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, that was my comics. Sarah, did you pull anything else this week?
Well, I would have liked to. Theoretically, I should have had Storm and Lumberjanes, as well as a couple other things. Michelle's pull box would have had Saga, but we couldn't get down there tonight. So I just grabbed a copy from my store when I was there. Haven't gotten into it yet, but everyone who's reading Saga knows that there's some serious drama going down, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, diving in there and possibly like putting on a hazmat suit and getting some like barbecue clippers on a long stick to open the front page, because at this point we have no idea what it's about to be. Well, I have no idea. I'm sure people have read it by now, so warn me please if it's, gonna explode, like literally explode, because I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get to it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Do you guys not go to the same comic shop?
When I first got here, I was stationed on an army base, and there was one really close to my base and close to where I still work. Michelle doesn't drive, so she goes to one in Baltimore, and I like to stick with my old place because they've been really good.
Gotcha. Cool. So, for me, some of the more notable ones that I picked up this week, Guardians of the Galaxy number 19, which is the continuing story of how Peter Quill and Thanos got out of the Cancerverse, and Drax. Inhuman number 6. So this was, this is the series that had like a pretty rocky start, because it was the one that Matt Fraction was going to start, and then Marvel didn't really like where he was going with it, so he passed it off to Charles Soule, and that started. But then they had like 2 issues out in 5 months, and I'm guessing because of the artist Joe Madeira, I think that's how you say his name. But it switched over to Ryan Stegman, and it's been shipping regularly and been really good. It's just a fun, entertaining kind of because it deals with the Inhumans. They have that whole hierarchy and kind of royal politics and all that stuff, and it's been really good. And so I've really been enjoying that one. And then, like I was talking about before, I wanted to mention the Future's End books, because all these one-shots have been pretty good. So this week I picked up Harley Quinn, Superman, Sinestro, and Red Lanterns. I think I picked up at least 1 or 2 more each week. So, I'm looking forward to reading those. Saga, like I said, like we were talking about before. And then Wayward, which I think the last episode we did, I talked about it. A really good new image series from Jim Zub about like a teenage girl in, I think, Tokyo. I don't remember where she was. Some foreign country, and she's kind of discovering her magical powers, and it's got a little bit of a Buffy vibe to it. But the first issue was really good, so I'm looking forward to getting to that second one.
If she's in Tokyo, are you sure she's not a magical girl?
Yeah, well, yeah, she's magical. It just has a... Wait. Was that a joke? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, it was a little anime joke. Never mind. Disregard.
Oh. I'm not a huge anime person, so it will probably go right over my head.
No, me neither. But come on. Magical girls, Sailor Moon, all that good stuff. The genre as a whole. You know what? Let's just move on.
All right, let's get into news. So there's a couple items, but the one item that we missed from being off that I wanted to get your take on, and you reminded me of it when we were talking about Gail Simone, is that
I'm so sorry. She has like a piece of broken glass.
Oh, that's fun.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Gail Simone's Secret Six got officially announced while we were away. Did you have a chance to check this out?
Yeah. Baltimore Comic Con? Yeah, definitely. I may or may not have gotten to look at a couple things that may be involved in the series. Let me tell you, there were literally 10 billion questions on the series, the new series, at the Gail Simone panel, and pretty much what he was saying was, all I can say is Black Alice and Catman have been confirmed. That's all I can say. And she had to repeat it over and over until finally her answer was down to Black Alice, Catman, and that, by the way, if Paul and Aaron, who I'm taking advantage of their absence, I'm a bad person, if they have not called dibs, I would really like to cover issue 1. This is me announcing it to the internet. So.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have no problem seeing that one over to you. Now, what do you think? Because I mean, most people, not most people, a lot of people consider the original Secret Six as like Gail Simone's her seminal work. You know, that's like if somebody says Gail Simone, like what should I get into? A lot of times that's the first thing that people will recommend. What do you think about her returning to something like that. Because
Sorry, go on.
Because a lot of times I feel like you run the risk of just being disappointed because there's no way it can live up to the original run.
Oh, sorry. No, I was honestly getting a little bit burned out on Secret Six, and I wasn't crazy about the direction in which it was going when the series ended. Catman went through a whole lot of things that, I mean, his character was going to a really, really dark place. I mean, darker than Secret Six usually gets. I mean, losing his and Cheshire's kid, voluntarily giving up said kid and having to tell Cheshire, and she essentially had a mental breakdown, and he went really, really dark after that. All the people that he basically tore through once his son had been taken. He didn't come back from that. I wasn't crazy about the art towards the end. I cannot for the life of me remember the artist, but I just did not like the way they made everyone's face look really squashed, and the coloring wasn't great. The team had changed a lot. I mean, just Manning-wise, like the characters that had come and gone. We got to see a lot of iterations of Secret Six, but usually there weren't just 6 people on the team at a time, which, I guess isn't a requirement if the team itself doesn't care about it. But I don't know, it felt like they were trying to do Gail Simone was trying to do a lot with the series that she didn't have space for, and in the process, I don't know, it was just getting a little strange, and it wasn't as fun, and it wasn't as energetic as it was when the series commenced. So I was kind of not glad to see it go, but I was glad I didn't have to pull it anymore out of a sense of loyalty. The original Secret Six stuff is great, starting with Villains United. I'm one of those people who are like, hey, if you don't read comics and you have kind of a dark humor, you like some violence, you like some wit, sense of humor, you probably like Secret Six. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know, honestly, and this is just me because this is what got me into superhero comics in the first place after high school. I'd say that her Birds of Prey run would be her definitive work, honestly, but that's probably just because I know it better and have made more of a study of it. So I'm excited to see them, I don't know, I am excited to see them reboot this particular series because I feel like it really needed it after the direction in which it was going. And having gotten Catman approved, which she has said that she's working with the artist to make sure that he is sexier than ever to cheers of glee from the panel room. And Black Alice, who was always a very cute character, she made her debut in Birds of Prey, and I guess Gail Simone liked her so much. And I know from Tumblr that she has a pretty big fan following. As a younger character, as one of the only teenagers on the team, which God help most teenagers who would come into contact with that team, I think it'll be really, really fresh and, something new, something fun.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and it'll definitely be on my pull list when it debuts. So, look forward to discussing it. So, the next bit of news.
Awesome. I wonder if this will change your perspective on all Gail Simone writing across the board.
I've read her whole Secret Six run, and I liked it, and I've read not all Birds of Prey, but I've more than a few issues of it, and I like that too. And yeah, so. We'll see. So the next bit of news is the last network channel without a superhero show is going to get one. We found out that Supergirl is getting a TV show on CBS, and I think that's pretty cool, which almost guarantees that we're going to have superhero shows every night of the week. And they're doing it more, like Arrow and everything, where she's already been, or even more so, it sounds like they're making it like she's already established. She's already been doing the Supergirl thing, and it's just going to follow her around, which is awesome because it doesn't seem like anybody's doing that anymore. with every new property, they have to retell the origin story and everything.
Yeah. Let's go through 10 seasons about how they got to being a superhero and then end
right.
it. Mm.
So I'm looking forward to that, and I know it won't happen, and I forget the actress's name, but the actress who played Supergirl on Smallville, she would be awesome as Supergirl here too.
Well, she's already done the role on network TV. Maybe they'll consider her if she's up for the part. Hey.
That'd be cool. Did you get a chance to read up on it at all?
Not so much, other than proclamations of its promised existence. But unlike Arrow, which, despite having a mostly nude torso as its advertisement, which, I mean, is very effective. Good job. Sorry. I didn't find that really interesting. Haven't found the Flash premises really interesting. Gotham, not really my thing. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just because it got such a slow start, and I feel like it's going to be a commitment to catch up on it. This automatically, I mean, not just because it's a female lead, but this sounds really good. I mean, based on what you've just said and based on the little snippets and headlines that I've read about it, I'm excited. I mean, it sounds like they're committed to doing a good job, and I'm excited about the idea of the show doing well, because if it does, who knows if we'll see more stuff along this line and possibly on the big screen.
Yeah, definitely. A Supergirl movie would be awesome. Yeah, too bad Paul's not here because, he's a big Supergirl fan. We'll have to find out what he thinks.
Right? Oh, he's going to geek out. He was definitely patronizing Mike Myhack in the Artist Alley at Baltimore Comic Con. He grabbed up a bunch of his Supergirl and Batgirl comic prints. Apparently, one of them may or may not be going in Olivia's nursery.
Yeah, he showed me when I was over there, a couple weeks ago when I was out there. That's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
So the next bit of news. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Brian Michael Bendis has hosted message boards for years, over 20 years. And apparently the other day when people went to go post on them, they were just gone. And he said, sorry, but I had to close them down. But he didn't really give a reason or anything. And there was kind of a lot of, not outrage, but just a lot of disappointment. And because not just fans, but I mean creators like Gail Simone and a lot of other creators were active users of the boards because they were on these message boards before they became creators, before any of them got big. And it's kind of weird because this is the second really big message board group that's just gone away. Because comic book resources after there's just a bunch of assholes on there, they decided to shut down the whole thing and delete everything. That's I think the worst part about this is that now there's no archive of
That's the exact wrong reaction. Yeah, I'm sorry. The appropriate thing to do is to get your mods in order and shut down any posts that are outright offensive that leaves the thread up. I mean, otherwise it's just erasure. It's just trying to cover your own ass because you let this stuff happen unmoderated. So, I mean...
I don't think that was the case with his boards, but it's just kind of... And I mean...
No, surely not.
And I wasn't on those at all, but I know a lot of people were disappointed. Did you ever do comic book message boards or anything?
Once when I was 18 and instantly kind of got ambushed for expressing an opinion on something stupid, something like Savant and Creote in Birds of Prey, and the longtime community members who had cred instantly mobbed me, and I was well, not going there again. So it's enough to make you wary. But I mean, if there wasn't any drama going on Bendis' message boards prior to this event, I mean, it's hard to tell what might have been the catalyst for that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, I read about it on a couple of the comic sites I follow, and none of them had any real insight into why, or any examples or anything. So just kind of curious, and it's a bummer. Mostly because I said, there's nowhere to search those conversations anymore, and that's the biggest disappointment because there's a lot of content there.
Right.
The next item is, after all the Deadpool stuff with the test footage leaking and all that,
Yes.
they finally announced that we are going to get a Deadpool film. They have, I mean, I think the original director and writer, those guys are still attached to it. They haven't confirmed whether Ryan Reynolds is, but I mean, there's no way he's not. Right? Like they can't not have Ryan Reynolds.
I hope he is. I mean, it seems like if the that they'd played the character in the past, they might, throw the team a bone and do the demo for them, or, a little cutscene or something. But yeah, I really hope he's involved, because he was really good in the Wolverine Origins movie until
he
it was terrible in the Wolverine Origins movie, which I'm pretty sure is the opinion of most people who saw the Wolverine Origins movie. Yeah. Well, until they effectively, let's not even go there, because that was not good.
So yeah, I hope that, because I mean it's been just kind of in development hell for forever, so I hope this finally gets them off their asses and they get this going, and that Ryan Reynolds is in it, and that it's awesome. And the last bit of news.
Yeah. Well, if you want to make money, Deadpool movie, how many fans does that have? Oh, I'm sorry. I think there's a little bit of a lag.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lag.
Sorry.
It's fine, but yeah, and the internet definitely made it happen.
Okay,
go on. People retweeting it and everything, and so yeah, go ahead and what you were saying about Deadpool has a bunch of built-in fans and all that.
Oh yeah, no, well that was just essentially it. Just wanted to make that comment. I mean, sales-wise, this is a really smart move, and I still think that leak may have been intentional, just to kind of give people an idea of what was going on. It took place too close to that prior Comic-Con. I feel like, it might have been an accidental leak.
Yeah, definitely. So the last bit of news, and I had to include this just because I, as well as others, like to bag on Scott Lobdell a lot. But if he does something cool, gotta mention it. So I guess at Rose City Comic Con, he went around and bought a ton of his old X-Men comics, just from the vendors there, signed them all, and then when he saw kids walking by his booth, he'd go and give them free comics that had been signed by him. And you don't hear about creators doing that a whole bunch, and it's just kind of cool getting little kids comic books, and not Red Hood and the Outlaws with Naked Starfire.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of sweet. I mean, I don't know how young these kids were to whom he was distributing the comic books. I get the feeling if they were little kids, they probably weren't going to understand that at all. It's like, who is this guy? What? Okay. Oh, look, there's a guy dressed up like Superman. But, I mean, good for him. He spent some money. He signed some papers. He distributed them. I don't know. I guess I'm not willing to throw Scott Lobdell much of a bone, even for alleged altruism.
I had to mention it just to balance it out a tiny bit. So since we have a little bit of time, it looks like somebody actually used the Q&A thing. And so when we were talking about Harley Quinn, Michael Fiveson, I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name, but he commented, let's see here, he just commented that he thinks that Harley Quinn is acting a little bit too much like Deadpool, and I definitely see the similarities there. What do you think? Because I mean, they have her breaking the fourth wall, and obviously she's the jokey character and kind of like the psychopath, but with a heart of gold type character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of becoming its own character archetype. Like when the term anti-hero emerged in the first place a decade or so ago, it's just like I feel like the character's likable, the personality sells, and Harley has kind of always been that way. I mean, back in the 90s, you had Deadpool as created by Rob Liefeld being like really a hardcore 90s guy with a billion guns, and he's just gonna, fuck up everybody, and he's gonna shoot everything and be a badass mercenary. And then, like Shatterstar and several other Liefeld creations, people got a hold of him who actually gave him a personality. And he was great, and he's been great ever since. The Harley was doing the same thing in the 90s when she first appeared in Batman the Animated Series as she's doing now. And I feel like for the first time in a long time with this standalone, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the first standalone series that this character specifically, like not with a team or anything, has ever had. I feel like her personality is getting to come out a lot more, and it's really getting to shine because it's being written well. Because she is a funny character. She's very witty. She's very clever. She's definitely psychopathic. I mean, that's just part of her character, but when written well, it can also be part of her charm. The violence definitely goes hand in hand with her role as a villain. And see, that's where there's a little bit of a distinction, because Harley definitely, I mean, you said Heart of Gold. Yeah, sure, but at the end of the day, she's going to hang out with Poison Ivy and the Joker and Suicide Squad, I suppose, and whoever else. She's not really going to cross paths that much with anyone who's firmly a hero. And Deadpool has a lot of crossovers, most of them with superheroes.
Well, they did tease in this one shot, about her joining up with a heroic dynamic duo or something like that.
Honestly, I think her and Aquaman miniseries would be really funny. Like, I haven't even read the Aquaman series since the reboot, but the things I've heard about it from Paul, I think it could be highly entertaining.
Yeah, should be interesting. But yeah,
What do you think?
I definitely see the comparisons, but I don't like. Both companies have their version of other characters, so it's gonna happen. And as long as it's not a complete ripoff and they're doing the character justice on their own, I'm fine with it. And this book is such like an anomaly in DC's lineup that do it all you want. More lighthearted, off the wall books, the better.
It's not exactly like the market's flooded right now with this kind of book or with this type of character, so I think they're all right.
Looks like she did have a self-titled series.
Okay.
In 2000.
Oh, that was probably the hardcover with her and being held by a bunch of minions dressed similarly to her that I kept seeing on all the Barnes & Noble bookshelves when I was like 15.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm on Comic Vine looking at it. So yeah, anyways, so that's Harley Quinn. If she does team up with Aquaman, I will probably pick those books up.
At this point, awesome. Especially if it's written by Amanda Connor and anyone, or standalone, because they're rocking the character. Like, they've got her exactly spot on. It's just really great.
And when you read the comic, do you read it in the animated series voice?
Yes. It's so much fun, and oh my gosh, it's such a breath of fresh air from the way Adam Glass and others on Suicide Squad were writing her, like from the beginning of the reboot on, where she was like having sex with Deadshot on a washing machine or something, and it's like, seriously? Like, really? This is all the potential that you can think of with this character? I mean, it's just, I feel like she's finally getting the attention that she deserves.
Yep, and that's a good thing. More female-led comic books, the better.
Mm.
All right, so I think that about does it. Do you have anything else to add or to comment on?
Not so much, I don't think. Oh, well, hey, just remembered, since we are not the sum of our comic books, we like to take this part of the show to go over any other media we've been getting into lately, books we've been reading, non-comic related, video games, shows that we're watching. Justin, you said that, Gotham had been pretty good. Have you been watching that / anything else?
Yeah, well, I checked out Gotham, obviously, and I thought it was pretty great. It definitely, I'm really curious to see where it goes because, they have to establish the city and everything. But the characters are very good. I think that, well, I can't think of the guy who plays Gordon. I don't remember his name. Although I just know him as Ryan from the OC. But him and Donald Logue as Bullock, those two together, I think are going to be really good. They play off each other very nicely. And the you're pulling the ad in the middle of the DC book.
But I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, if you open the center thing, it's the Gotham spread.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Wow. But yeah,
okay.
and the actor
just had to remember.
The actor that plays Carmine Falcone, as they're saying it in this one, it's Falcone and other things. He's only in the show for 5 minutes, but just instantly just steals the scene and is a very commanding presence. So yeah, I will definitely be following that. The other thing I want to briefly talk about is I'm started a new book. I've ditched the Heroes of Olympus. I just not gonna finish it.
What?
So OkCupid, the dating website. One of the founders of it is a Harvard mathematician. So he used to have a blog where every once in a while he would talk about the data that they collected from people answering all the questions or whatever, and just weird correlations and kind of odd things that you wouldn't think about, relating to what people say and then what they do. And he released a book called Dataclysm. And so I'm about a couple chapters in, and it's doing the same stuff with their website, but then also with other things like with Google's data and Twitter's data and all this. And if you ever read Freakonomics or books like that, it's in a similar kind of has a similar kind of feel to it. And it's really interesting. So I would definitely recommend that if that at all sounds like something you're into. But I'm a big data nerd and stats nerd, so it's kind of right up my alley. What about you, Sarah?
Well, I have not actually been reading that many things lately that I'm willing to admit to the internet on a live broadcast. I've been watching Michelle play a lot of video games. Tales of Xillia 2. It's just such a light, fun, happy sort of game where none of the characters are miserable and everybody has beautiful stories, and you get a lot of cool stuff, a lot of money, a lot of swag in this game, and it's just really enjoyable. It's great stress relief, and we like to just come home and play that and take our mind off all of our worries because it's just so stress-free. I'm happy.
What type of game? Like an RPG action?
It's an RPG. Yeah, it's from the Tales series, actually. But the first Xillia game was so popular, apparently they made a sequel, and they're due out with another Tales game, although set in another different universe. This time, relatively shortly, I think. By the way, everything I just said about it being happy was total sarcasm. If you know anything about this game, you'll know that you immediately become 20 million gold in debt, and all the characters are miserable all the time, and you have to kill different incarnations of your friends from different worlds the whole game, and no one is happy and everyone is miserable, and it's incredibly stressful. For fun! I'm also looking forward to the new Heroes of Olympus Rick Riordan book coming out in October. Because you don't set out to run a mile and a half and then stop like 0.005 miles before you get there.
Oh, I mean, it's even longer because there's.
No, it just feels like it's longer because of the writing.
Well, I mean, in total, there's probably like 10 books, 12 books.
But the
like
first
that.
5 are so good, it's like you can't count them. And honestly, the first 2 of the Heroes of Olympus books are really good as well.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know what happened.
all the characters together and they're all dating, and he doesn't know what the hell to do with all of them at once. That's when it just completely went to crap. But no, not only am I a masochist, apparently, but all that is not going to be for nothing. I've suffered and I've sacrificed, and I'm going to read the last of this goddamn series if it's the last thing I do.
What he needs is a DC editor to tell him you can't put couples together. It doesn't work.
Honestly, he could use a little bit more of that, because it's like the satyr gets a girlfriend, the wood nymph gets a boyfriend, the Cyclops gets a harpy girlfriend, all of the human characters have their nice little heterosexual couples. Literally everyone is dating everyone. That rock is dating that chair, and Nico D'Angelo is still alone.
Well, you'll have to tell me how the last book is, because I know.
Okay.
I've tried.
I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't get a boo, half the internet is probably going to revolt. Just saying. At this point, it has to happen, or Reardon can't walk the walk.
Well, you'll have to inform us how it goes.
I will.
I think that about does it. I think we're got all the comic and young adult book talk out of the way.
And vitriol.
Yeah. A lot of vitriol tonight. So you can find links to everywhere to find us and all of our episodes on cbcpodcast.tumblr.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/comicbookcommunicast. And our audio versions on iTunes, also RSS, which you can find at our website. We also appreciate any shares and likes on social networks, +1s, tweets, whatever. Any of it's good. Thanks, and have a good night.
Night.